getting your business started, or if you're struggling with your business, trying to get those customers, trying to communicate what you do, you've always got to come back to the first one is your overall business strategy. And like we said, that starts with defining why you start.
Welcome to Vision to Success here at socialmediashows.com. And my name is Maria.
I'm Jason.
And Jason, by the way, is the founder, CEO of Evil Genius Leadership, right?
That's correct.
Yes. And tell us more a little bit about Evil Genius Leadership so that people knows what we're talking about.
Sure. Well, Evil Genius Leadership Consultants, it's my company. I founded it in 2014. It takes my experience from 20 years as an Air Force officer and bringing those strategy, team building, and leadership lessons to small and medium-sized businesses everywhere to take the best of what we learn in the military to build strong teams and achieve a mission and bring that out to your business. And it's 2021, it's a new year, it's a brand new show. You've had shows before, I've had shows before, but never together and nothing like we're going to do here today.
Yes, it's going to be a very interesting show and very educational as well. Because as you know, I really love that I am partnering with the coach, business coach, because I am talking about business all the way in my life, like 24 hours, even in my sleep. So I am so honored to be in a show together with you, Jason.
I'm honored as well. We did an interview a couple of months ago now, and when you pitched this idea to me that we do a show together, I got really excited about it. So I'm excited to meet our guests. I'm excited to meet some of the business owners we're going to have on and be helping out a little bit. Really excited to help people turn strategy into action, whether you're coming on our show or you're watching.
Yes, and you know what? You're free to ask questions as well. Like what I said on my post on the previous days, we're going to take advantage of having a one-on-one coaching for free with our coach right here.
So yeah, I mean, we're going to do this every couple of weeks. We're going to get together and we're going to put it out there. We're going to see how many people we can help. Yes, on this show.
I love that. I love that idea. We are here to help. You know, we especially this time already that we have this COVID. There's a lot of businesses out there that needed our help.
There are, and even with COVID and the world is changing every day, there are a lot of opportunities as well. And that's what I hope that we can help some of our viewers and some of our guests work through, is figuring out what the opportunities are and how they can help their communities while still creating a sustainable and profitable business.
Amazing. Well, today, Jason, we put out a theme of this show today, or a topic, which is?
Our topic today is creating a brand, developing a brand, creating the right brand for you, and that's really important. And we have a great guest who knows all about branding, has learned some of the lessons the hard way, and is going to tell us a little bit about that. But do you want to tell us who our guest is going to be today?
Well, our guest today is, on our first, after this segment, is the amazing, my longtime friend. We've been together with different TV network before, Mr. Guy Dawson. And he is the PR specialist of PR Consultants.
Yeah, and Guy, you've been friends with Guy for a long time. I've been friends with Guy for a long time. Are we ready to take a break?
Yeah, of
course.
Bring Guy out here? Yes, we're going to bring him in
all
now.
Right.
So we're going to take a quick break so that we can bring him in. And we will be right back. Please don't go away.
We've reached the age of live streaming on social media shows. You may ask, we're already ahead of the curve. So why do you need to advertise with us? Well, only 8% of the businesses in the U.S. are using digital advertising to grow their business. That's 2 percentage points short of reaching critical mass, which will lead to faster results. We have 20 plus shows with a reach of over 80,000. We'll give you commercial ads, website link, and connections to nonprofit organizations. So get your brand ready for digital monetization, for we are looking for sponsors, which will bring more traffic to your business and ultimately mean more sales. So let's bring the world to you. Inquire now.
Huh? Yes, we are ready.
Am I still in the shot?
Yes.
Okay.
Hey, welcome back to Vision to Success. And we are here today with our guest, first guest actually. We have more guests coming up. And Guy, tell us more about your PR connection.
Well, my name is Guy Dawson, and I run a public relations and marketing company called Classic Communications. I have been in business since 2008. And
Wow.
I've been helping businesses and organizations and individuals with all types of the PR and marketing needs, promote themselves, get the word out about what they do.
Wow, yeah, since 2008, that is 12 years in business.
Almost 13. It'll be 13 years in February that I've been in business.
13 years, all with Classy Communications.
I started Classic Communications with $75
Nice.
in 2008. And
Nice, very nice. And so has Classy Communications been your brand the whole time?
that has been,
So,
it's been that brand.
so why Classy Communications as a brand, and how did you arrive on that brand for you and your business?
I was tossing it around. It was like one day Classic came into my mind, and I just kept tinkering with it, right? So that's something I've learned through the years with developing these brands is you get an inspiration, and then it's just about figuring out how to make it flow and to make it something that you believe in. I think that's really important too when you're developing your brand. And we just wanted to be the public relations and marketing company that always presents ourselves in a classy way, takes care of you, great customer service. Then we developed the branding of it, the top hats, and it's just evolved through the years. So it was it's playing with words is one of the really important things that I do when I help people with branding.
What are the obstacles that you've been through building this brand?
Well, I started my business in 2008, which was probably like one of the most challenging times that you possibly could have started a business. One of the errors that I've discovered with business people is the first thing that they cut when they start having trouble is their public relations and marketing, which is really the opposite of what they probably should be doing, because you need to get the word out more. And we didn't have very much social media back then. Facebook wasn't really a business platform back then. It was still very
It's in person,
consumer
mail.
oriented.
Yeah.
And so
Did you do all those marketing like sending and emails and like postal, cards?
Oh yeah, direct mail.
Direct mail, there you go.
We used to have physical media kits that we would fax to reporters, and it was a different era. I mean, it doesn't seem like it was that long ago, but the world really has changed a lot since then.
Yeah, I believe social media started in 2009. Technically in 2003, but Facebook started in 2000 and they put it public in 2009. I know I did my
You did some homework? It's more than I did. So I went to the gym this morning instead of doing homework.
No,
for the show,
I did that homework before I started social media shows.
well, it's good to do your homework.
Yes. So all those times is we don't have social media to actually distribute our products or market our products and services. So it's kind of harder. So you've been through a lot since the beginning. You started this, and look at you. You're still standing.
Yeah, it's you have to be very committed to your business, and so the challenges that we experienced early on, it was helpful because it taught our team. Now, I've had a team throughout, sometimes big, sometimes small, but the thing that we learned from that was how to adapt to a hostile business environment or a challenging business environment. And so through networking was really huge for us. I don't think if the networking community here in Las Vegas supported our business, and I think that that's what really got us through that. We did business with one another during those times, and we learned how to really provide value for businesses to get better, because it takes time to get better at the thing that you're wanting to do for your business.
Yeah, it sounds like whether it was a different time with different media tools, different PR tools, the lessons are still the same. And as a business owner in hard times, you need to find those opportunities. You need to look for those new customers, those new revenue streams that you may not have thought of before. And someone like Guy communicating that you're doing that out to the market is so important. so that people know they can come look for you and you can come provide that for them. So what are some of the things that, if you were advising someone with a new business and is developing their brand, what are the kind of categories or big picture things you think a business owner should be communicating about their business to the market?
I think that anyone, whether you're just starting your business or you've been in business for a while, the biggest challenge that I see that people have is a message, and getting a very clear message about the value that you deliver to the market. I think there is a lot of emphasis on the platforms, which is social media or email marketing or whatever the platform is. And yes, our company, we utilize the platforms in a major way. I just think that the message of what it is that you want to bring to the market, if it's not clear, which is one of the challenges I see with a lot of businesses, is it's just they approach me and they say, I want to learn how to be more successful on Facebook, or I want to learn how to be more successful on YouTube. And I tell them that's wonderful. And at the same time, the clarity of the message, what you truly want to convey to the world, is very important. And I think the messaging is where a lot of businesses miss the mark in terms of their PR and marketing.
I think I totally agree with that. That's why when in the beginning of my business, social media shows is a lot of people came to me and asking me what is this all about, because at that time is I don't even know exactly what path I want to go to. I'm trying every single panel to what's exactly want to go to. And now that we are so clear of what we want, exactly what we want, so yeah. But it's part of building a brand too. It's part of building a brand. In my case, there's a lot of cases that when we start building a brand, we put a plan, we put a business plan and everything. The thing with me is, no, I didn't do that. I just start going through my passion. And no, I'm gonna, I heard this a lot. An entrepreneur is somebody who will jump out of an airplane and find their way down to the ground. And that's exactly what I did with my business. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's part of being an entrepreneur every day, is you face the crisis of the day. You face whatever it is the problem you're solving, and you can't wait for all the other problems to present themselves before you start solving that in a lot of cases. So sometimes you're in the burning airplane, right? And so you've got to get out of the burning airplane. Then you've got to figure out, okay, what do I do next? I lived just long enough to get out of the burning airplane. What's the next step? What do I have available? What are my opportunities? How do I go from there? So, Guy, you talked about getting real clear on your message. Were you always clear on your message, or did you kind of, your message today may be different from what it was in 2008. How did you get to a really clear message that you have today?
Well, I had a business plan, of course, that I wrote out before I got my company started, and that was helpful. But what you'll discover sometimes is that your business plan never really plays out.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I believe in having a plan. The only thing is that the market shifts what your plans are. And so in terms of clarity of the message of what we wanted to do, the things that we decided, a lot of it was due to the adaptation to the market. And over time, we crafted it and kept working at it and working with other people. So being a marketing company that is helping other people market helps you tremendously, because you're constantly in that space, and that allows you to really develop your own marketing, which gets you in front of more people so that you can help more people.
That's amazing. Yeah, I think that's what actually get us all together as a team. Not really a team, but we have a main goal. We have a common goal to help others, and that's what I love about this man.
I've never known Guy not to be ready, willing, and able to help someone in need when the moment arrived. So
yeah, that's kind of a PR trait.
Yeah,
when you're a PR person, it really is about you're in service all the time, and that's how you earn your living. It's you being able to solve problems like you were talking about a few minutes ago, Jason, and just being there for people, and you just grow as your business just evolves over time. And yeah, I mean, we've developed a lot of brands through the years.
So what target market are you targeting for your business? Is it only demographic wise? Is it only in Vegas or around the country?
Oh yeah, we've had clients all over the world through the
All
years.
over the world.
Yeah, so we do a lot of our business locally because this is an environment. One of the things about doing business is, I think to a large extent, people are comfortable with someone who they can reach out and touch.
Mm-hmm.
So through the years, we've done a lot of our business here in Las Vegas, but we have a construction company in Japan that we work with. We've done business in Australia.
That's
And
amazing.
I was just on a trip to Dubai, and now we're starting to cultivate some relationships with real estate oriented companies over there.
Oh, very cool.
So the digital age that we're in now has really changed the whole landscape of business.
Business, yeah, that's what actually my next supposedly question. Do you have more questions? Before?
I actually really wanted to ask. So, doing business all over the world, what have you learned over the years about creating and perfecting a brand for different cultures that you're not from?
Yeah, it's not so much the cultures; it's the way that they go about doing things. The way that the Japanese people do business is different than the way that we
Absolutely,
do business
yeah.
in the United States. And the important thing, it's not so much how they go about it in terms of the marketing, it's understanding the culture and the way that they conduct business and being okay with that aspect. But in terms of getting people in front of an audience that's receptive to what they're wanting to sell, that's pretty much universal.
It sounds like, just like here in Nevada or here in the United States, market research is your friend.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to understand your market intimately. And that's an ongoing process. And that evolves over time too, with the services that you have to offer or the culture of that audience. That shifts. I mean, we've got some tremendous shifts in the buying culture in America right now. And these tech companies have figured it out. And that's why you're seeing this massive growth in wealth with these big tech companies, is because they figured out exactly how to serve their clients, and they're clear with their message, and so they are able to produce these incredible results where you hear about these businesses making $20 billion in the pandemic. I mean, that's just unheard of for a business to improve like that in this type of economic climate.
So you started your business in 2008. What is actually motivates you to start a business? I just want to ask that.
Well, I've been an entrepreneur since I was a kid. 11 years old is when I started my first business. So I've always been engaged in entrepreneurial endeavors. But what happened was, in the mid-2000s, I did a lot of personal development. And it was helpful in bringing me clarity, right? Like I'm talking about, clarity is so important in all aspects of life. But I went through these personal development workshops, and I finally figured out what I really wanted to do, where my passion was, like you had mentioned a second ago. And that came from that process, because I had gotten in business. I had made money in business, lost money in business. That's the entrepreneurial journey.
That's the game.
But what I discovered was that I could quit things because it wasn't my thing. And once I got into public relations and marketing, I really, after discovering where my talents were, where my interests were, I was able to very easily adapt to the challenges in 2008. I mean, I never had any thought that this business wouldn't succeed. And that was because I was so entrenched in doing the thing that I enjoy, working with people. I really love working with people and helping them create success. And so where they say, you would do something for free, right? If you weren't getting paid for it. I like getting paid for what I do, but
Yeah.
absolutely, I'll always do PR and marketing.
So what did you, you work with so many people in the past and even up to now. What is the best lesson you learned from building a team?
In terms of actually building a team of people?
Yeah, team of people. Like you get different personality of people. What did you learn about actually dealing with all these employees or associates, or partners?
Yeah, you have to understand who you're dealing with, the personality types and the what drives them. And that's in people you're working with on your team or the people who you are servicing, because you're dealing with those elements too. Everyone that you're dealing with, whether you're in business or if it's people who are on your team, they all have their whole lives, right? Kids, mothers, fathers, all the experiences that we're all going through in life. And that they can't help but bring that to their experiences with you. And I think it's a willingness to have empathy for that and to understand that. And they sense that when they're working with you. And we've always had a culture that was empathetic. That was something that I felt was very important, even back in 2008. I mean, value, customer service, and empathy, which is an underrated thing because in business nowadays, right? Because people think it's just transactional. But you have to understand, transactions happen between people. Transactions don't happen between robots. There's always a human element, even though people will talk about it's just business. And that's not true in my experience. If there's a human being on the other end of the phone or on the other end of the computer, there's that element.
Yeah. If you're in business, you're solving somebody's problem, whether it's a real problem or a perceived problem. But especially if you're doing B2B kind of stuff, if you're not solving somebody's problem, you're not going to be in business with them for very long. It sounds like you've got a great culture at Classic Communications, and you've built a team around you. How do you look for and bring on the people who match that culture? Or is that something you develop with the team when you hire people on?
I think I spend a lot of time. I have a mentor who gave me some incredible advice many years ago. And the advice is slow to hire, quick to fire. And I know that might seem kind of callous, but it's something I absolutely have discovered is I don't jump into relationships. My company, in terms of business relationships, I don't just jump into things because I've learned from my mistakes through the years that I have a pretty good process for the way that I bring on team members. And everyone who starts working for our company starts as an intern. It doesn't matter how much experience you have, or we start them as interns. Either there, I've do a lot with the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and internship program there. But I've also had lots of interns from other sources through the years, just people who have wanted to learn PR and marketing. But about 5 years ago, we began to really establish that culture of everybody starts as an intern. They do a minimum 3-month period with our company, strictly as an intern. And that allows us to get some time to get to know one another, to see if this is going to be a good fit. And if they're not willing to do the internship, I know that there's already an issue there because they're not their growth orientation just doesn't fit our culture. Right. That's what I'll say. But so in 3 months, you learn a lot about a person, and they learn a lot about us too. Like, is this a group that I want to be associated with? And so that's been very helpful. Is the internship program and bringing people up through that. I think I've gotten some really loyal employees. The ones who stick around and stay with us are loyal employees. They get it. They understand what our culture is all about. We don't have that people flying in and out. It's hard to develop a culture when people are coming and going all the time, and there's confusion. And so that's been very helpful for our company.
It's so important that culture comes from the top and is consistent. And yeah, you did talk about being slow to hire and quick to fire, and that can sound a little callous, but we're doing people a disservice if we're keeping them on our team and they're not a good fit for the culture. It's, if you've ever dealt with investors or have been a founder looking for investment, you'd much prefer to get a quick no than a maybe or a kind of soft yes, right? So it's important for us to be honest with ourselves and each other on the team that if things aren't working out, we can still be friends, but we need to make a change.
Right, yeah. Not all situations work, and I don't think you can make all situations work. Sometimes it's just not necessarily a good fit, and it can be for a variety of reasons.
Yeah.
And no one's at fault. It just doesn't work out, but for us to maintain an ongoing business where we continue to take care of these clients, it's really important that we have continuity. Continuity is an important aspect, I think, in business, especially when you've got a team, because you're filling positions, and at the same time, there's always that human element. And so when you have the right fit, I mean, I have a few, personally, there are, and I want to take a second to share something that has worked for me in terms of when I'm building teams. I'm looking for loyalty, I'm looking for dependability, and then I look for ability.
I love that.
So that's always worked well for
that.
me.
Let's repeat those three that you just mentioned.
Loyalty,
Loyalty,
dependability, and then being good at the job. And it that order, so you could have, and I listened to this is something I learned from Napoleon Hill in one of his talks many years ago, but the person can be the most brilliant person in the world, but if they're not loyal to you, they're dangerous. That person can really be dangerous for the culture of your company. And if you can't depend on people, that they can be brilliant and not dependable. And so there you go. I like and then the third is ability. And ability in most cases is something you can teach. There's nothing within our company that cannot be taught. So we work from that level. I get people all the time who don't really know necessarily anything about PR and marketing other than they went to college and it's their major. And then we move them into our system. And if they're loyal and they're dependable, they'll learn the skill sets because we educate and train a lot in our company. That's a big part of our culture.
It's so important when you are hiring that you have a very clear, bright line of what you are willing to work with someone on to develop them within the company and grow them into the kind of people you want that fit into the culture of the company. And then what's non-negotiable? What is something they have to come already with, whether that's a skill or a trait like loyalty or dependability. It's so important to have those clear, bright lines, and it's so refreshing to learn that you've learned that's very important and one of the keys to success.
Yeah, it really allows us to be able to cut to the chase, like you were talking about, right? And people who don't meet those criteria, they'll go away, usually very quickly. And sometimes there's a lot of reasons why people go away, but the ones who stay, those are the ones. You know when you've got the ones who really fit, because you're able to work anything out, right? I mean, not everything goes smoothly in business. There's challenges. I have my life, they have their lives. Everyone's living, right? We're in some really, really challenging times right now. And yet you're able to get through things because you have that common understanding that they have to know that I'm loyal to them. It's not a one-sided loyalty.
100%.
You see what I'm saying?
It's a
So
two-way
that's
street.
a big, actually, it's my loyalty to them that counts the most. It's not really their loyalty to our company. They have to sense that this guy is the leader of this company, but he's looking out for me. He's looking out for my best interests. And when they know that, other behavior sometimes when you're a leader can be excused on their part because they know you really are looking out for their best interests.
But showing them, being a leader, we make it so easy in their eyes. Everything that we do, we make it so easy. And sometimes that is actually misconstrued, because we make it so easy, they think everything is easy for us and they don't understand exactly the decision process that we are making all the time. Does that make sense to you?
Oh, yeah, completely. No one can really get in your head to see the vision that you have, but as the person who's running the business, you're constantly running. When you're working for someone, you go, you do your job, and you go home. I mean, I've had jobs, so I know it's a whole, right? I'm not thinking necessarily, I know some employees are, but I was never that type of employee where I'm thinking about the next move of the company.
Yeah.
But when you're running the company, you're constantly, so it's impossible for people to know what your vision is. And that's one of the challenges that a lot of entrepreneurs, from my experience, have, is that they can't get people to keep up with them because they're thinking about this all the time. They're like on high speed all the time. And getting other people to come along with your vision can be very challenging for entrepreneurial types sometimes.
Well, you know what? It's so fun to be in the middle of these two powerful men, and I am so freaking lucky. I am so lucky because I'm learning so much. I thought I've known a lot already about business, but now listening to this is just like my brain is just running 500 miles per hour. But anyways, we have so many more to go.
So many more. We're going to
Yes.
be doing many more guests with just as much, if not more, experience than Guy, which is quite a lot.
All right.
And I think we're going to be doing a little bit of live coaching here in just a few minutes, aren't we?
Yes, we are. So please, we're gonna go on a quick break, and please don't go away. We will be right back.
We've reached the age of live streaming on social media shows. You may ask, we're already ahead of the curve, so why do you need to advertise with us? Well, only 8% of the businesses in the US are using digital advertising to grow their business. That's 2 percentage points short of reaching critical mass, which will lead to faster results. We have 20 plus shows with a reach of over 80,000. We'll give you commercial ads, website link, and connections to nonprofit organizations. So get your brand ready for digital monetization, for we are looking for sponsors, which will bring more traffic to your business and ultimately mean more sales. So let's bring the world to you. Inquire now.
Social media shows network were initiated in 2017. Since then, our founder Maria Pureza never stopped developing a system on social media in building a network of passionate people that loves to entertain, coach, help others, and deliver informative information to the public, informally, in a low-cost production. She built a platform that surpassed Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and other social media live streaming, but exceeded the function of a podcast. Her main goal is to be able to broadcast on social media like a traditional TV setup involving a group of broadcasters, YouTubers, podcasters, and social media live streamers. Maria is building the confidence of non-actors and non-famous people that joins her to network. We are here to promote and support one another, to help our community grow collectively without inhibitions but with confidence and high self-esteem. We love to be in this family together. Our door is open to help you build your brand, opening opportunities for others, and outreach to our community. We welcome you to the family of social media.
All right, welcome back to Vision to Success. I'm Jason LeDuc, and just to prove, as we talked about with Guy earlier, that some blow up your plan and no plan survives contact with the enemy, Maria is behind the computer, so she's not going to be joining us on camera, but we'll make sure she gets to ask some questions. And now what we're going to do in this segment of the show is we have two young entrepreneurs, Bree and Mimi, correct?
Yes.
Okay, great. And so what we're going to do is they've volunteered to let us ask them some questions about their business and see if our guest Guy and the rest of us in the room can help them out and get them on a good path towards success for their new business. So welcome, Bree and Mimi.
Hello.
And can you tell us a little bit about what your business is or what you're looking to do?
Okay. So it's mainly she was the one that came up with it. It's like with masks. So
Okay.
In the beginning, like of COVID, I even was making my own masks, and she's making masks. And do you have a mask?
I have the one I wear.
Yeah.
So I started making masks actually just like a few weeks before COVID for like festivals and stuff.
I feel like you may have had some insider information.
I I was just something I wanted to do on my spare time, and it blew up for a hot minute, and then it just kind of like dwindled as soon as people realized that they could start making their own, which is fine. But I think mine are pretty great because they're like reversible, they have adjustable straps, and they can have like a pocket for like a filter, to insert your own filter. And I also do like very custom work, so if somebody wants like a special like vinyl decal or whatever on it, then I can do that.
Like their own art, their own.
That's what I started out with, and she started out with a different combine both those right now.
Yeah. At the moment, we're trying to have like alternatives, so it's not just hers or mine, even child sizes as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so quick summary. You individually started working on masks separately.
And then we met.
And now you're met and you're working on masks together. And is this something you're doing on the side, like a side hustle? Is this an existing business? Where do you want to take this?
We're starting. We're going to be getting business cards soon.
Okay.
Like today or tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we're going. Yeah.
And is this something you want to take as a full-time business? Is this something you want to keep on the side? Where do you want to go with this? What in your perfect world, where does this go?
In my perfect world, it would be like working at home and making these, and I do other things too on top of that. Like I do custom decal work for clothing and a few other things.
Like everything that we offer, we do want to be like full time. Maybe find a contractor to assist with sewing once we find. Once we combine like
someone who can like mass produce them, but my pattern is a little bit more, has more TLC into it because I do it. It's like a very specific design on like how to make them, and there's like two sides to it and everything. This one's kind of dirty, but it's got makeup on it. But so we're trying to figure out like what's a best design for it, where we can find someone who can kind of mass produce it, but like not like. Is that what we're looking for? Yeah. Mass producing?
Not mass producing. I mean, unless we have a huge buyer.
Yeah.
Okay. Guy, what do you think? What should we be starting out with here?
Well, what's unique about the masks that you create? Because there's a lot of masks. One of the things that I saw was once the pandemic really kicked in, everybody's coming in and creating masks. What makes specifically the product stand out amongst all the other masks out there?
Well, the one that she has the filter, the nose, and adjustable for the ears.
Yeah.
And the one I have ties in the back, or you can just leave it as like kind of like a necklace.
Oh, okay.
So like say you're going to go eat, you can just put it right down here and you can do your thing, and then just slip it over your ears, so that way you don't feel the pain here. But some people prefer this because it's easier to just take it off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have a couple options.
Yeah. So I think that that's really important when you're presenting something, being relatively new in business or at any time in business. The most important thing that you want to get across to people is this is going to make your life easier. Exactly. So you have great features, and if I could share some of my, my feedback is accentuate the benefits of using these masks. A lot of people just think a mask is a mask. They have no idea that you can do other things with masks.
Breathable. Like my masks, I look for fabric that's soft on the face and breathable.
Yeah.
So we're going to be combining things that I've learned from my mistakes and then hers as well. Yeah. So it's we're constantly trying to improve our product.
It's the only real complaint I've had for the people that I have sold them to is that it was too big, but I make them so they cover like literally 50% of the face. So it
want to show like what it
so when I put it on, that's all it.
That's nice. Covers. Those are actually really good for the gym. I've seen folks in the gym wearing bigger ones like that so they stay in place. And
it actually doesn't, the way mine are designed, it actually doesn't like suck in on like the mouth and the nose either. So there's plenty of space right here. And if it's too tight still, all you have to do is just pull the little things and like pull it out. And it doesn't fall. That's another thing. It doesn't fall off. So, stick like I do, it still doesn't.
I will pass, but
Well, for the ladies.
for the ladies, yes. Which is important. And do you have any thoughts on branding for them? Initial advice on branding for them before we dig into some of the rest of
I
this?
think your story is going to be huge about how it happened. It's the pandemic, and then the two of you came together and you create this company. So promoting your story of why you're doing this, and finding ways to show how you're benefiting larger society because of the importance of wearing these masks, and that's such a big topic right now. And I think that definitely in your messaging, like we were talking about in the last segment that we did, it's really important that you be very clear about what you're bringing to the world, how significant this is, and you've got a fashion sense, you've got safety that's tied into that, but the two of you also have this great story about how you came together to create something for profit, it being in business, but also to contribute to society, to make people become more willing to wear their masks, because that's of course a real challenge. But if the masks are sexy and cool, they'll be more likely to want to wear them.
And it's so dusty out here, like when it's windy, it really helps with so that like the sand and the dust is not getting your sinuses or any lower face orifices that you don't need it to be, basically.
And have some ideas
Super
to like
dusty.
bedazzle them as well, so that way the style as well, like
everyone
sparkles,
likes the glitz and glam, and
but not what we have been seeing. You know, when you see the glitz and glam, but something unique. So we have some ideas that we're
I'm in violent agreement with Guy on this. What I see here, a potential direction for your brand between the pocket for the filters and the breathable fabric, a marriage of functionality and beauty, glamour, luxury. And so you, instead of creating something that's mass produced, these might be something that you do that is a custom or customizable job every time. Not saying that don't get this to the point where you can mass produce them, but that marriage of functionality and luxury, beauty and glamour, I think is a direction that I have not heard anyone talking about when I see masks advertised. So I think that's a really interesting area that you might want to pursue. In addition to that, you said you've sold at least some of these already.
Yeah, I've made a couple. The first couple of months when COVID started, I made like a couple thousand.
Okay.
And then after that, I started going back to work, so I was doing it more of a part-time thing.
But you sold all of those that you made?
All the ones.
That's
that
great.
I sell the leftover ones that I made like just to sell, but like, that I created myself. But there's only like 3 or 4 that just sit there.
So you've tested the market on this, and the market is responding, so that's great. So as you go forward and you think about your branding, I think there's some market research for you to do. And just a little bit of refining of who is this for? Right? Who's your, for lack of a better term, you hear this a lot, the client avatar. Who's the young woman that these are most likely directed at, right?
Right.
And what is her life about? What is her lifestyle about? A mom who is looking to make sure she's got plenty of masks for her kids is probably a different customer than you guys are going after. So I would ask that question of who is this for? And if you've got some thoughts, I mean, please go ahead.
We could easily do that and have like a mother-daughter mask too. So it's like
I like the matching ones kind of thing.
Yeah.
That would be, I didn't think about that. That would like, I've seen some where they have like the luxury fabric.
Okay, so we do have a few questions. And it's once we have like we figure out who this is for and we answer like these questions, because I'm writing all this stuff down too because this is very good advice.
Good. I'm glad it's helpful.
Do you have any like books that or people or podcasts that maybe we could listen to that might like help us and like steer us in the motivation and direction, or any advice for like anybody we should follow too as well other than you?
Well, I was going to say you've already taken the best advice and you're here on Vision to Success. So
who has helped you though with everything?
Go ahead, Guy. I need to gather my thoughts. I listen to so many podcasts.
Right. Yeah, there's so much information out there. But specifically when you are a brand new business, as you are, there's a great book. I think it's like the Bible of small business, and it's called The E-Myth. The E-Myth Revisited. And it talks about why most small businesses fail and what to do about it. And it'll be very helpful in giving you some of the foundational things that will help you early on in your business so that you're able to get through all of the ups and downs that you inevitably are going to go through. So that's a great one. And I think probably, what would work really well for them? I love the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
I like that one
I
too.
love Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
I've heard of that.
I think any business owner, the whole goal behind that book is getting yourself on the B and the I side. So it's great you get a concept, and you at the very beginning you're pretty much working as an employee or you're working as a self-employed person, but it's a choice if you decide that you want. And some people, that's all they want to do, right? They want to just work and they enjoy their work, but Rich Dad, Poor Dad shows you that you have a choice. So if you decided, like Jason was talking about, that you wanted to mass market these in the future, it gives you the mindset of, it's a different mindset to mass market these as compared to being a small business and just creating small amounts. And by the way, boutique might be really the way to go. I agree with
down
Jason.
right here. That was one of my notes.
Boutique could be really a great way for you to get started with it. But yes, those books in particular, I think would be very helpful. We've got a great Facebook group too called The Professionals.
Oh yeah,
and I'll give the two of you it's basically geared towards people who've been in business, but also people who are new in business. And we have a lot of inspirational things that we are doing in there. We got that group started May of last year.
It's a great group. All three of us are in it.
Yes, and we do podcasts in there. We have all types of great interaction. Jason, Maria do a lot of it's everything. It's networking, it's personal development. We have workshops. So joining groups like that where you can be inspired by other entrepreneurs, I think, keeping yourself in the space of other people who are in business, it can be challenging for people who aren't in business to understand what you're going through. But other entrepreneurs, we understand, because creating your own paycheck is a different mindset completely than being an employee.
It's actually kind of fun, honestly.
It is fun.
It's fun almost all the time. It is punctuated by moments of sheer terror sometimes. But I'm a big believer for anyone who wants to take a crack at being in business. Start with a problem you think you can solve. Work your way up. You don't need to go not everything has to be Shark Tank. You don't need to quit your job and start, do that kind of stuff. I think you guys are doing it right. I do want to jump on Guy's use of the word boutique. I did really write that down. And as you guys develop your brand and you're thinking about this, you were talking about putting these in boutiques, but I'm thinking the whole customer experience. So if you guys are going to sell these online, you want your website to be a boutique experience website. You want your social media accounts to be a boutique experience. So getting to the who can you read, who can you listen to, Christoph Wyman, who is local here to Las Vegas, has a bunch of great books about customer experience and customer service. So I would highly recommend him. On the Nose for Business podcast, Kathy Heller has Don't Keep Your Day Job, which is all about how do you take something like you ladies are doing, maybe doing as a side hustle and turning it into your full-time business. I'm also a big believer in reading and listening things that are a little outside the mainstream of your purpose in order to get a different perspective. So I'm currently reading a book called Conscious Capitalism right now, and that talks about John Mackey, the CEO of Whole Foods, wrote it. It's 6 or 7 years old now, so some of the tax stuff in it is a little dated, but it's a great book, and it talks about whether you're a business that has a social purpose or a social component like a Tom's Shoes or a Warby Parker Glasses, or you just want to do things that are good for your community. It talks about setting up that kind of business and how you do that at a much grander scale than a kind of a small business, but the lessons are good. And then outside of that, listen to interviews. I love Malcolm Gladwell's Revisionist History because that is all about looking at things we think we know about, but from a different perspective. So especially the things you enjoy. Listen to podcasts about music, podcasts about artists. One of the things I was telling Guy about this a few months ago, as I develop my own products, which are a lot of digital products, and speaking, I'm thinking a lot about the creative process. And so I've really started learning a lot about the songwriting process. Not because I want to be a songwriter, but because there's a collaborativeness and a real genuineness about getting out your message in the songwriting process. So I would encourage you to pursue your other interests and use those perspectives you gain from that and pour that back into what you're doing.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
Maria, do you have a question for these ladies?
My only question is, what inspires you to do what you do?
Okay, so I'll start with how I got into it, and then we can start with you after.
That's fine.
Okay, so I was just home. Okay, and then I saw on the news everything was happening. I'm a Reddit fan, so I knew everything was happening before it kind of came here. So I was like, okay, we're gonna need masks soon. So I only had like $70, and I was like, okay. I went and bought like a $30 sewing machine, and I started cutting up fabric and started making masks. And then it was actually for me, but I was too embarrassed to actually wear it yet because it wasn't a real thing yet. So I just started. Then I started reading up like news on like what people don't like about their masks, you know, the ear thing. So I just tried looking up like ideas to go around that. Then it started hitting, and there was no masks that people could buy. So I started going to Taco Bell and Walmart and other places and going, hey, I got these masks. I was selling them for like $5 or $10 each, because my design isn't as great as hers. It's very, but like I said, I'm updating it. So I
still like yours.
So I just started like selling them, and then all of a sudden everybody wanted them, their families, and I was just making like 40 an hour. Because I'm just really fast. I was just cutting and just mass producing them. And the feeling of knowing that I helped them in that way, it was great.
Yeah, that's the story.
That's-
That speaks to the story.
That's
You have a
exactly what I was
great
gonna say.
story.
Yeah, and I didn't want to charge too much because I saw people that had like their design was close to mine, and they were selling them $30-$40 each. And I was
And-
like, no, this is unfair. Families need this.
Yeah, and that's something, if you guys are going to pursue the luxury, beauty, glamour perspective of this, you've got to think about your pricing. And that's something, that's a discussion for another day. But there are numbers between 35 and 5, right?
Yeah. Now it's completely different because my design is different now.
Mine started out with, because I started doing them like just a few weeks before this all hit. Because all I was doing, I was just going to work, coming home, and like I've always wanted to like originally I've always wanted to like make clothes and sew and like have my own designs in clothes. And I thought the mask would be a good start because I'm a festival goer all the time, and so I kept seeing like all these light up ones, and like for $40-$60 I'm like, this is not, nobody wants to spend that much on something like that. And so I started with basically accessories is what I was going for. And at first I was doing them for like $20, and it's still roughly around there, but I don't I went, and then as soon as COVID hit and everything, I wasn't doing like extravagant work like custom decals or anything. I was just doing like giving everyone options of like what all the cool fabrics I could get, and then people were loving them. They were like, they wanted Harry Potter, they wanted Star Wars. The Star Wars ones were really big, very big. And then I had a few coworkers who were like, I need them for my kids. Can you make them for me? And I'm like, yep, sure. So, but the initial was so I could have extra income and hopefully to become like more independent and not have to always be at work, go home, be at work, go home, and like not feel like I'm doing anything besides just being on a computer and telling truck drivers what to do.
Well, you guys heard us earlier about roadblocks and all the obstacles that we've been through on our businesses. How far are you willing to go and, go get to your goal for this business? What can you put in there, to go through all these obstacles in building a business and a brand?
I'm willing to go pretty far.
Advertising.
Yeah, for advertising.
Advertising. I have no problem printing out flyers, staying on a corner, and telling them what I have to offer.
I'm pretty proud of our product, even what we have right now. I'm pretty proud of it. So I mean, I'm okay with talking to people because I am confident.
Good. I have no doubt you guys have the hustle and the drive to do that. And honestly, with new business owners, that's sometimes the hard part of, I've got a great idea, but I don't want to cold call businesses. I don't want to stand in the street corner and try to sell them. It's just it's a fear that a lot of people. I mean, I had a hard time with cold calling when in the Air Force you don't do cold calling. That's what I did for 20 years. Then I started a business. It was a skill I had to learn. Sounds like you guys already have that. My last real piece of advice for you guys is masks are great. You're trying to build a brand. I would think about some other products that you can start to bring in the future.
I have a couple already.
Great, because if everything goes right, COVID's not going to be as big a part of our lives, hopefully in 6 months to a year, but we want you guys to have a sustainable, profitable business. And so I would think about other products that you might want to put in your line that match. You two have such incredible stories. You have such an incredible story about how you've married these two different ideas. And I think the festival masks will always be a thing. I think you're always going to have these other masks. How do you take that those same ideas, solving a problem for someone, and bring a couple new products? It sounds like you already have great ideas. That's my thoughts on that. Guy, do you want to have the last word with these ladies on?
Yeah, I mean, I think you have a great concept. That was a good point about adapting to your market, and you have to be prepared for shifts.
Yes.
But your commitment to doing this and your love for it is what's going to end up playing out. And so I just say, yeah, you just don't quit. Really, 90% of failure in business is just because people quit. It really isn't anything other than the fact that you're willing to continue to push forward through whatever circumstances, like the two of you were talking about, that come up. You can't never, ever, ever quit.
One of the questions I was thinking about is advertising, like paying for advertising, like on social media, like is that like a good idea, or is it like, how much do you think does that help, like
For advertising.
for advertising?
Marketing.
Yeah,
And
advertising.
make it the brand.
Yeah.
Yeah, online advertising, depending on the industry, can be really helpful. But I think there's a lot, especially when you're very new in business the way the two of you are, there's so many organic opportunities now in social media because social media has grown so much.
Yes.
I mean, ads do work, though, especially for very consumer-oriented products like yours. So I'm not saying completely that wouldn't be something that you would consider, but there's also, I think, a lot that you can do organically. And telling your story allows you to do that.
Yeah.
Because if you're telling your story, that's what makes people really interested in you. You know, big brands have lots of money to to promote. They don't have to really tell, but they tell stories too.
Yeah.
But they have the advertising dollars to continuously keep their brands in front of people, whereas smaller businesses don't have the repetition of that. But we can do it organically by being really consistent with our social media.
I think so. I think settle on your brand, test that brand out on your organic social media, and as much as you can do in person in the market. Things are getting easier in that regard. Get that feedback from your customers. Get those testimonials from your customers. Start putting that out further on your organic social media. And then once you are really solidified in your brand and you know it's really clicking with people, you're engaging with people on social media, you're engaging with people in public, then start thinking about what your advertising budget might be. And that's gonna be partially based on how much revenue you're bringing in and what your goals are to bring in more revenue later on. That's a whole different show. So, but yeah, we'll have a whole different show to talk about finance with you or somebody else or something. But get that brand solidified and just see how it's connecting with people, I think is the best way to go. Maria, do you want to come sign us off?
Yes, I want to add before we go off, I just want to add that, with the perseverance and the motivation that you have that I see in every day, go for it. Don't listen to anybody who never build up anything. because those are the people that is just instigating you what you're doing.
Yeah.
So go for it. No matter what you see, whatever you go through, try to go through it.
Okay.
But like what I was saying yesterday, when you are trying to go to reach your goal, there's always around it, above it, under it, and through it. So find the right path, because you will be able to do it.
All right.
And that's it.
All right, well, that's it for us. We will see you in 2 weeks with another set of great guests here on Vision to Success.
All right.
Getting your business started, or if you're struggling with your business, trying to get those customers, trying to communicate what you do, you've always got to come back to the first one is your overall business strategy. And like we said, that starts with defining why you started your business, who you're doing it for, and how you help them. We help people with the nuts and bolts pieces of their business, turn your dream, your spark of an idea into reality.